So we're going to start now. Alina, you can start.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. With the world smitten by the pandemic, not just people, but the businesses have suffered as well. We all learned to live and operate in a virtual world, something that was previously unheard of. This situation pushed all the entrepreneurs to sustain and innovate to make the best use of the resources that are available and to market themselves and their businesses to those whose pockets were constantly eroding. Through this conclave, we are aiming to bring about an entrepreneur's perspective on marketing in the new age, the pandemic and the post pandemic influences on the businesses. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I welcome you all to the first ever combined entrepreneurship and marketing conclave. This year's theme being Marketing in the New Age from an Entrepreneur's Perspective, conducted by the St. Joseph's Institute of Management. Prayer is a form of invoking the blessing of the Almighty God. Light fades away, darkness, and symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. To solemnize this auspicious occasion, we have the College Choir Master Deepak Daniel for the prayer song. I request the media team to play the choir song.
Deepak, unmute.
Thank you, team, for the melodious choir. May I now request our Dean, Dr. A.R. Rajgopalan, to kindly welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Alina. Good afternoon, friends, whoever is gathered there in the form of our guests, which includes our speakers and also our students of first year and second year PGDM program. A hearty welcome to everybody. Times are very difficult and tough. Notwithstanding, the marketing team and the entrepreneurial club teams have come together to bring people together so that the classroom teachings can always be supported by the practical learning that will be inputs in the form of inputs from our speakers of the day. I really take pleasure in welcoming, on behalf of our respected director, Dr. Manoj D'Souza, the speakers of the day, which includes Mr. Sohan Pandey, who is an executive leadership coach, keynote speaker, mentor, advisor, angel investor, trainer, and ex-CEO. Hearty welcome to Mr. Sohan Pandey. Secondly, I also take pleasure in welcoming Mr. Vishal Jain, a startup mentor, a product leader and co-founder of Bloom India. He has been instrumental in setting up an incubator cell in SJIM. Welcome, Mr. Vishal. I also take pleasure in welcoming our own alumnus, Mr. Ranjit Sundaram, whom I am seeing on the screen. He is a tech headhunter and the director and co-founder at Drop Smartbox. Welcome, Mr. Ranjit. I also take pleasure in welcoming our keynote speaker, Mr. Sarthak Goyal, who is a serial entrepreneur, one of the founding members of Code.io, Startup Surge. He is the co-founder of SkillX, a startup that aims to make youngsters industry ready before they graduate through skill building workshops. I'm sure, Mr. Sarthak, that our students, some of them who are interested in entrepreneurship or in entrepreneurial ventures, will be greatly benefited by some ideas that you may be giving them or passing on to them. I also take pleasure in welcoming Mr. Ankush Sabharwal, founder and CEO of CoreOver, highest ROI, delivering and the world's first human-centric conversational AI platform being used by 500 million plus users. He is a speaker and an author. Welcome, Mr. Ankush. Mr. Karthik Ponnappa, whom we met some time ago, maybe about a month or month and a half ago. Mr. Karthik, welcome, co-founder and principal at Smarter Dharma, which is a social enterprise operating spectrum in the field of sustainability. Welcome, Mr. Karthik. And finally, my welcome and hearty welcome is to Mr. Ravi Prabhakar, founder of Origami Creative, a branding and advertising company, which is a 21-year-old company. He is also the co-founder of a coffee startup called Maverick and Farmer. Incidentally, I was telling Vignesh and Kavya that when I came across that Mr. Ravi Prabhakar is founder of Origami Creative, I was checking about my tissue box on my table to see whether it was Origami brand or some other brand. So Mr. Ravi Prabhakar, it is an Origami brand. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to the students. Please be benefited. This is special request to the students. Please be attentive and be receptive to the speakers' inputs, and then cultivate the habit of interacting with them and discussing with them, so that you are getting a better placement opportunity in times to come. Good luck everybody, and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the most exciting part of the day, the B plan competition. So no business school is actually complete without hosting a B plan competition. And thus we have our very own B plan competition that's called the First Pitch. So First Pitch is an intercollegiate B plan competition spotlighting entrepreneurial skills in the modern era for the students of SJIM. The First Pitch offers the students of SJIM a platform to unleash their entrepreneurial mindsets by coming up with the best business idea, developing strategies, and convincing the judges. The contestants are required to formulate a viable business plan and propose a sustainable solution to a problem that they think is prominent in the modern world. So the first round of the B plan was judged by Dr. Karen Rodriguez, Dr. Anup Krishnamurthy, and Professor Venkatesh Raj for scrutinizing the B plans thoroughly. Each finalist will walk away with a cash award and a token of recognition. Thank you all for joining us today to witness the final of the First Pitch. Before we get started, I would like to introduce you to some of the distinguished judges. Today we have with us Mr. Vishal Jain. Vishal Jain has a corporate experience of 17 years in the software industry. He has worked with software companies like HP, IBM, and Infosys. He holds a bachelor's degree in computer science and postgraduate degree in product management. He's a product leader and the co-founder of Bloom India, which is an online community of blood donors. He has been mentoring startups in multiple domains like solar energy and the real estate space. He has been mentoring startups in multiple domains, and he has been an advisor in strategy, customer segmentation, and his area of expertise has been design thinking and strategy. He's a certified Scrum Master and an agile coach for startups. He's also passionate about training. Apart from professional life, he has been an active member of Bangalore Little Theatre and has been a part of 6 productions. He's also a yoga and meditation practitioner. He has been instrumental in setting up an incubator at SJI in Bangalore, and he has also been an active volunteer in various NGOs. The next judge for the day is Mr. Sohan Pandey. He specializes in executive leadership coaching and mentoring, focuses on business strategy, product leadership, strategic partnership, and alliances. He speaks on various forums, inspiring and coaching senior corporate leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners. He specializes on helping leaders double their sales through strategic innovation, sales strategic, and empowerment, as well as partnership. He trains and coaches on strategies for the faster time to market, reduce cost, gain high quality and productivity. Power of decision for businesses and professional growth, success strategies for executive leadership, company valuation and strategies, and key focus area for corporate growth and innovation. Sohan Pandey has 20 plus years of corporate experience in the IT industry and is now a full-time entrepreneur, an executive leadership coach, and a keynote speaker. He is the co-founder of Mangosteen Holdings, a niche marketing firm focused on concept-based, premium, and exclusive by invitation only real estate projects. Moving on to the next judge, Mr. Ranjit Sundaram. Mr. Ranjit Sundaram is the co-founder and the managing director of Drop Smartbox. He has a cumulative work experience of 5 years and both in corporate as well as startups. He had started off his journey with Deloitte by working as an auditor for the USI office. He completed his bachelor's from SJCC and his MBA from SJIM. He has been in the startup space since the early 2019s and with the testing of many business ideas, finally went with two that worked for him. He's currently the director and founder of Drop Smartbox, a smart enabling tech and lit store, which is a flexi retail startup launched with the support of Brigade Group. On behalf of SJIM, I welcome all the judges. Let us put a big round of virtual applause for the judges. Now let us get this competition on road. We'll now hear the live presentations from the 4 finalists. They have been selected to present in a random order, and they will be timed on their presentation, followed by question and answers opportunity for the judges. So let us call upon the first team, Team Black Mamba.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Graces, we can hear you. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible too.
Rohit, mic check. Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Can we move forward? Okay. Hello, investors. We are Team Black Mamba, and we present to you Transform, a business that will transform the fashion world and your worldview.
Elton, aren't we forgetting something?
Oh yes, we'll even transform our investors' portfolio. Coming to a problem statement, as we all know, the transgender community doesn't have equal opportunities and sometimes even their basic rights. So the idea that we've come forward with is a fashion brand completely operated in India, all the way from design to delivery. The value proposition that we offer you is the feel good feeling. That is, you feel good when you wear the clothes we produce, and at the same time that the feel good making a difference in someone's life. Coming to the market size, the market is a whopping $133 billion and at a compounded growth rate of 13.80%.
When we come to the marketing, first we need to identify who exactly are we going after. So the targeting audience we have come up, the target group we have decided to target are people who are young, below 40 years old, who are passionate and opinionated about social issues, who are fashionable and who prefer online shopping. So we have divided our marketing into 3 stages, as you can see. One is the awareness, one is the sales, and one is the retention. Most of our strategies are pretty self-explanatory, except a couple, which I will explain to you right now due to lack of time. So the one is trans stories. So this is where our employees who are from the transgender community will share their stories and also share how Transform as a business has changed their lives. And fashion mob. So this is a guerrilla marketing strategy, which will also facilitate our unpaid PR and word of mouth. So the fashion mob is a 20-minute fashion show in a public place, which obviously again will involve our transgender community. And the idea of it is definitely, we know we'll get unpaid PR and word of mouth, but it's like gaslighting the the PR and word of mouth strategies. And then what we have is also personalized letters in the retention strategy. That is, upon delivery of the product, customers will get a personalized letter from one of our transgender employees. And the letter will basically state a particular instance in the transgender's life and how the customer's purchase is now helping improve the transgender lives in general. And the next slide. So this is one thing we wanted to address because from the judges' feedback on our B plan, this is one thing we identified that needs to be addressed further. So first is transform is not just related to transgenders. It's in fact to transform any section of the society. So we'll give you an example of how transform can be used in another country, and we pick Qatar in the Gulf. So over there, the women employees are not given, equal rights. So basically, we decided to pick identification of a section, which is the women's section, and then we apply the transform business strategy, but fit to the environment of Qatar, which means instead of online retail, we'll have to pick brick and mortar stores, and then we have environmental friendly packaging and delivery to the end consumer, which is again constant with the existing model. And then finally, part of the profits will be used to again develop and uplift the women's section in Qatar. So usually in the fashion world, newer brands compete only on price or product, which leads to their demise against bigger players like Zara and H&M. But we feel like Transform, we have a strong business mission, and if that paired with great products will help us to carve a unique space in the market. The next slide.
So I would be speaking about the finances. This is the initial capital requirements taking into everything into the consideration. So it stands at 25,70,000. And the revenue model per month forecast is we have 6 product lines, as you can see: t-shirts, casual trousers, hoodies, and kurtas, and bifurcated into men and women. So that stands at 46,87,500 per month as we are expecting. And the expenses also taking into everything into consideration, the secondary data, the employees, expenses, logistics, packaging, it would stand at 39,80,000. And the revenue forecast for 2022, 23, and 24 stands at, from the taking in both of this into consideration, it is at 5 crore 62 lakh 50,000, and expenses is 44 crore 77 lakh. And we have applied a healthy growth rate of 20%. 20%. 20%. That is at for 23 and 24. And also, as the sales are increasing, we expect growth in our expense of 10%. So that is also added. So this is the revenue forecast, as you can see in the slide. Next slide. So this is the brief supply chain of Transform and the theoretical production capacity, because as we are in apparel manufacturing business, we need to understand what is the production capacity. So we have 6 lines of all the products that we have, and we have designated machines in line of 35 machines, and we would be employing 35 people in the machines. And the normal shifts per day is 8, and production capacity of all the apparel for 25 days in a month would be around 7,786. And the supply chain explains how the customer can place the order and how the supply chain and logistics activity takes place and how the product gets dispatched. So this is the supply chain aspect of our company. Next slide. So this is the organization structure. CEO is Elton, and marketing and sales will be headed by Gracious, and I would be looking after logistics, supply chain, and operations. So other departments, that is CFO, Chief of Design, and CHRO, would be filled by somebody from the transgender community, because we feel the Chief of Design should be a transgender, because he or she would be the face of the society, and they would propel our brand to the greater heights. And the executive employees include the floor managers, the logistics managers, and the operation level employees would be the tailors, stitchers, etc. And we also pay above the industry average salaries for everybody. So this is one thing. Next slide. So whatever we three were speaking until now, this comes in the business model canvas. And one thing I have to highlight, the logistics, that is the end delivery to the customer, is completely done by our company, and it is also done by transgenders who go in electric vehicles. So this is done because the only physical touch point we have with our customer is the delivery. So we want to create a change in the customer mind when the delivery is done through a transgender. And we have, as Gracious told, we have even personalized notes. So that is one thing where we want to tap. And we also have a facility in our app where customers can give back their clothes to the company which they're not using, so that we recycle and we get the sustainability aspect into the company. So this is how Transform runs. Hope you guys have liked our company. Thank you.
Yeah, and we would just like to add one more point to Rohit. So like we said, the app also aims to deliver a customized experience, and the donated clothes will also be used as part of our business mission to, donate it to the transgender community and further uplift them. Thank you.
So how are you competing with other brands like Myntra and all?
Okay, so the thing is, again, like we said, the way we are going to carve this unique space in the market is because of the strong brand mission we have. So I wouldn't like, even though we are both selling apparel, I wouldn't put us in exactly in the same category, because like we said, we are in the category. If you look at like Tom shoes or something, like, because with a strong mission, what happens is most of the brands that are actually propelling at a really good rate now are people who have strong business missions. So that's what our brand is also doing, and we feel like with that itself, along with our clothes quality and our prices, we'll definitely stand apart and beat Myntra and I know other online retailers.
So just a question for you guys. So
Yeah.
what is setting you all apart from your competition? So what is unique about your product that would say, you guys have a strong story, you guys have a strong, base from where you all started, but to actually put yourselves out in the market and gain that, to actually capture the customer base, what is setting you guys apart from your competitors?
So the one thing is, in our revenue model, we have also stated the pricing. So we are pretty much on the same price level on one end, and on the other thing is, uh, our delivery experience is also unique. So like we said, the word of mouth strategy which we are using is actually extremely important, and we feel this social mission will absolutely help propel that. Our business will be in the spotlight. We are aware when it starts. So like we said, standing apart, we are not actually bothered about that. We feel as a business, what we have designed in terms of our value proposition will help us
So
stand.
your value proposition, in order for you to actually get customers, it has to stand up. It has to stand out. So if you have the exact same value proposition as any other business, so then for one customer, say for example, to switch over from the existing brand to your brand, there has to be some reason, right? So do you guys actually know who your competitors are in this space for just a gender binary, gender neutral product line?
Yeah, so we are. Oh, yeah. So one thing we did not mention again is we do have the men's, we have the women's, but we also have a transgender section of the fashion.
Yeah, so gender neutral clothes. So do you know
Yeah,
who your
gender.
competitors are in this space and what they do? Because I'll give an example. So Tonle is a brand that is currently doing really well, okay, in the space, and they've captured the market because of again their story. So you guys need to set yourselves apart, say in a community like India, where something like this is still picking up. We really haven't accepted the transgender community as well as they have abroad, right? So when you're trying to use this as your base to sell products to customers, maybe the current generation might be able to accept it a lot faster than the older generation. So you guys need to figure out how your value proposition and your USP sets you guys apart from the existing players in the market, so that you can actually grab the customer base, because you guys can pump in tons of money into your business and actually build a brand, but for people to accept that brand requires you guys to do some amount of marketing. So word of mouth cannot be your only dependency factor. You guys need to know you guys need to mention exactly how you're actually going to go into the market, your go to market strategy. And your total addressable, your market that you mentioned in billions, that is not your market, that is a total existing
Yeah,
market. So you guys need to
yeah.
tap into your total addressable market within India based on the current market situation.
Yep. So in our marketing side, we actually put a bunch of strategies which are also directed towards sales. But the problem is we had only 5 minutes, so we didn't want to get into those. So, but yeah. So so for the sales aspect of it, we are using targeted advertising first of all on social media. Like we are targeting the actual group. And apart from that, we are also partnering with influencers who are in the particular category, the same age group as our target market, and who the same demographics what we have for our target market. We're looking for influencers who have the same, because people would be following them. And also on the other side, we have a retargeting strategy. So in case someone does land on our product landing page, and they were to not buy the product for some reason, or they were to stop at the checkout area, then we would retarget them with an ad with a discount coupon or something to make sure they would purchase. So the idea is, yeah, it would be a little aggressive initially. Maybe the cost of acquisition per customer will be a little high, but we believe with the app and infrastructure we have, we count on repeat purchases based on the experience we offer. So we think in over lifetime, I think a customer will offer us a lot more
Yeah,
business.
and adding to Gracious's point, and even in the marketing strategy, you can see that sales in the form of influencers. So even if you consider, as you rightly mentioned, that in the Indian scenario, how exactly that if a person has to like purchase from us, we come up with the influencer strategy. Even if you look at these days, we have
judges, please note the time for the question answer session ends here.
Okay, I'll just finish this off. So yeah, so the influencers these days you have I think if I'm not mistaken, an inspector who's a transgender, and so many other transgender in the form of radio jockeys and so many other things. So they can be more or less our word of mouth. So they can purchase goods from us, and like how we have all our influencers and even the trendsetters who wear apparels from different top end that is brands, same way they can wear us, and that would more or less be a platform strategy from where we go forward.
Yeah, and I don't think this is just a personal mission for the brand. I think every transgender who's actually well off or also will actually take this as a personal mission, seeing that a brand is actually, taking the initiative to improve their lives.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know if there's enough time for my fellow judges to actually pitch in, but all right. You guys have made your case, and
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, judges. Thank you for your time.
good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Black Mamba. So today we also have Professor Anantaraman joining us today as a judge. So as all of you know, he's a graduate in mechanical engineering and MBA and AMP of the Harvard Business School and a PhD from Columbia University. He has over 40 years of professional experience, both in operational and academic expertise with leading multinational companies and educational institutions. I welcome you, sir, as well. Calling upon the next team, Team Bandits. Over to you, Team Bandits.
I hope I'm audible and the screen is visible. Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Yeah. All right. So good afternoon, presenter. We're Team Bandits. Nikhil and I will be presenting our B plan. So I'll start off with my elevator pitch, and then we'll move on explaining our B plan in detail. We recognize how challenging it would be to get our diet bit taken care of while attaining the fit summer body. Wouldn't it be great if someone made us a nutritious snack post and pre-workouts, and that too at affordable prices and convenient timings right outside our gyms? I mean, who wouldn't want that? Personally, I find it hard to get myself out of bed to just hit the gym. Forget about making myself a nutritious snack early in the morning. So we are here to make our gym rats' lives easier by providing the very essential protein requirement for any workout, the egg. You honestly cannot let your workouts go in vain just because you do not have the time to look into the diet aspects of your workout. While recovery supplements such as protein shakes, carbohydrate proteins, drinks, and protein bars may appear to provide a convenient way of getting nutrients immediately after exercise, we know it's invariably more expensive and also time consuming compared to the real food. You can get the protein, carbohydrates, and other nutrients your body requires after an exercise session from us, the eggheads. Moving on to the next slide.
Okay, moving on to the market side. So currently we are focusing on 10 predominant locations in Bangalore. Per location, we are focusing on 15 gyms. So all our customers will be 18 plus consumers. Going on to the value proposition. So our idea is directly relevant and serves the need of the customer, which is providing X immediately after workout or pre-workout. And it has also been universally proven that eggs carry a gigantic amount of protein, and we can measure it as well. So it confirms with the quantified value. So we don't have a competition in the market as well. And firms like Heat Fit are trying to give too much to increase the profit margins, which is not even required by the customers. That's how we differentiate from the competitors. Going on to the next slide.
So we have planned on segmenting our market on the basis of locations in Bangalore. We're looking at 10 prime locations. And we would be targeting at heavily crowded gyms with a customer base of mainly who are working professionals and students who do not have much time in their hands. And of course, our positioning would be in such a way that our products are in scheme, affordable and hassle-free. Affordable, of course, hassle-free, just at the right time. And our marketing strategy we would ideally be targeting gyms that are used by these famous influencers, Instagram influencers. We would be targeting both small and big influencers. With small influencers with a few followers, a decent number of followers, we would be doing a collaboration. Whereas the big influencers with more followers, we would leverage on their followers with paid promotion.
Moving on to SWOT. So first I'll come up with strengths. So as I said earlier, the idea is quite unique where there's no such competitor where is doing it in the large scale, and also it requires the life of more of the massive hype of healthy lifestyle where it is made more approachable. Coming to weakness, there could be some disappointments to the people with preference of vegetarian as well as vegan meals. As of now, we could create a sub-segments and could serve vegetarians only. Threads, as of now, we have few threads as well. The chances that the input price will increase or someone else would copy our idea. Going on to opportunities, considering the increment situation, the business could shift to other online platforms where we can get our potential consumer, as the technology has made it all possible to exercise even from work, even from home. Moving on to next slide.
So our products are pretty obvious, sir. Our media products are the eggs that we provide, and we would also be selling dry fruits along with them. Our pricing would be per plate of with 2 eggs would cost 29 rupees, and 100 grams of mixed dry fruit would be 70 per pack. Place of our stalls would be right outside the gym, very close to the gym, and our promotion includes social media, billboards, and pamphlets.
Moving on to financials, with provided time constraint, I could explain the outline of the financials. So when it comes to revenue, considering both eggs and as well as dry fruits, we are anticipating the revenue of 1,67,076, 1,67,76,000, and considering all expenses such as stalls, container salaries, revenue, advertising, insurance, and it would cost around 1 crore, 14 lakhs and 30,415. Overall profit we
Team,
are
your time is up for the presentation. Let's move on to the question and answer sessions. Judges, you can take over.
Look at the business model, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Vishal here. So I think I missed one critical point. Maybe you covered it and somehow I missed. So first of all, who will pay for it? There is first question whether the any customers who are going to consume eggs, they are going to pay or the gyms are going to pay?
So it would be the customers paying for the eggs. We are not collaborating with the gyms as such. It's just a stall by the gym because our target customers are the ones at the gym.
Okay, and coming to operational issues, like so basically, like are you going to provide eggs in the gym? Right, as soon as they finish the workout, you can have eggs and walk out of the gym. Is it like that, or maybe you'll be having a stall somewhere outside?
It will be right outside the gym by the gym. It depends on the gym location. So if they have a place where we can set up stalls inside the gym, well and good. If they do not, it will be right beside the gym. Right?
So I see an underlying hypothesis that if you have a stall, right, and you put pamphlets and posters, because when I see gyms around in my area, right, people would be coming out of the gym and straight away they will go home, right?
Right.
Maybe they'll prefer either having a breakfast at their home. So have you done any kind of experimentation or maybe some kind of validation of your hypothesis? Because underlying hypothesis which I see is that people when they come out of the gym, they'll straight away they will go to the egg stall and have eggs. Have
Yes,
you done
so
any validation?
so we had a couple of conversations with the
Sorry, what voice is breaking?
am I audible now?
Yes, slightly better.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we had conversations with a few of them who, who work out regularly, and we asked them how it would be if someone had your eggs prepared just after your workout. Like, because most of them do not really pay attention to their diet aspects of their workout, and that is really important. So they were like, obviously that would be a great thing, because like, people being students and professional workers do not have much time on their hands, and they would be really grateful for someone who has their protein bit taken care of, post or pre workout, and at such early times in the morning when getting out of bed is so difficult, and hitting the gym is another aspect altogether. So the protein bit and the nutritious part of bit that is taken care of, people would actually pay for it, is what I heard, like a few of them that I spoke to.
Also, I would like to add a point. So what the business model is that even though people have enough ration, or like they are capable to do the daily breakfast, even though they are depending on food chains like Zomato, Swiggy. So I don't think so. Our business will get impacted such that the people will go directly to their home and have their food. So similar to those business model, even our business model will work.
Okay, how many people have you spoken to?
Like just our friend circles, not like
How many?
say around 10.
Oh,
Guys, just also an input. You guys do have competitors in the market, especially in Bangalore.
Yeah, the only competitor that I personally seen is the one stall right outside Gold's gym. That
No,
is.
so these are not stalls exactly, Tejaswini. You have companies that offer this on a subscription basis where you can order your meals and they'll. So, right, people who go to the gym, like me, for example, who go to the gym at 11:30 in the night, I'm not going to go out to a stall right after my workout. I'm going to go home. I'm going to have the subscription package, and they're going to bring the food to my house, right? So, if you guys offer a subscription basis product to gym goers, then they are going to subscribe to it. If you wait for them to come to your stall outside the gym, that's most likely, especially given the pandemic situation, is not going to happen. And
Yeah.
you guys do have competitors in the market, so you'd probably have to go and visit. I mean, a lot of gyms in Bangalore and interact with a lot of people before you can actually understand why people would switch from an existing company to your company.
No,
So
that's the
your
whole
friend
point of
circle
my.
alone wouldn't suffice. You would have to talk to a lot of people in a lot of gyms, different segments of people. So you need to know who your target audience is. You have many people going to the gyms. People who are looking to lose weight. They're not going to come to an Excel and gain eat this for protein, right? So you guys need to know how to actually offer this product to the customer at the lowest possible cost. Because setting up a stall outside the gym and actually running it is going to be expensive.
And the whole point of our differentiation is that. So, uh, going through this whole process of subscribing to, like, say, Eat Fit or whatever, is going to take a lot of time. So we're just our like, if you saw our slides, our differentiation is instant and affordable. The whole subscription thing is, and we're not hitting these high, really expensive gyms. We're looking at these mediocre gyms that aren't very expensive.
Sorry to interrupt you, Tejaswini. The time is up for the question and answer session. We'll move on to the next team.
Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, guys.
The next team is Team Sustainablers. You can take over, team.
Is my screen visible?
yeah.
So you can begin.
You're on.
You're mute. Sorry.
Team, please start. Please unmute yourself and start off with the presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
Megha,
you
go
may
ahead.
proceed.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So Priscilla and me have come up with a business idea that is name is Karankal, which basically means a helping hand. Next slide. So helping hand generally means a student helping the other student. From how a student helps the other student, that is from the by giving the textbook. Especially we are dealing with the school students, so our business is based on that exchange of the textbooks. So vision of the company is that no student should suffer from the lack of the textbooks. Every student have the right to gain the textbooks, no matter how financially back they are, or how if they are not able to afford this. Every student should have textbooks. The mission of the company is that we want to become the first ever platform for the students and all the professionals, that where they can change the textbooks. Not only we have this changing of textbooks or the notes, but the thing is that our B plan is working towards the sustainability also, sustainability towards the environment. Now how it will be going, I'll explain you. So what is the problem statement? So problem statement is we find in the society that there was not an effective use of the textbooks by the students, because it is not needed that every year a student will buy a new textbook. So textbooks can be carried forward, notes can be carried forward from a junior to the senior. In addition to that, the textbooks are also very high costly. Everybody cannot afford the textbooks. And the third point is what is happening to the textbooks after one has completed his studies. Either it will go to the scrap of the thing, or people, they will be selling it to the local vendors who will be tearing off the pages and wasting it somewhere. So how we are going towards the sustainability and this business idea. So business idea is name is Karangal, where we will be dealing with an online platform which will be based on the blockchain technology, and subscribers will be there. On the subscribers will be there for the application, and there they can exchange the textbooks. You can exchange your pre-owned textbooks, and you can sell your pre-owned textbooks. If the textbooks are not there, like if you have completed your studies or graduation, you feel that you can't keep these books, then we will be coming to you and take the books for the recycling thing, and out of which you will get some wallet points. These wallet points will be useful to buy the next textbook or do further transaction in the on the applications. So going to next slide. So this is the market size we are approaching. Currently, we see the textbooks reading students are basically towards the school, because school prefers different kinds of textbooks. So our main target segment of the market will be the school students. Then the college and researchers generally prefer the research papers, which on digital platform or online platform. Next slide. So products and services, I already talked about. You can purchase and sell the pre-owned textbooks, and if you are not getting any textbooks sold on your platform, you can give to us. We will take it to the recycling thing, and in case exchange of that, you will get a wallet point. So every person who is exchanging the books for recycling, they will have a step towards the environment sustainability. Now the financial thing and the marketing thing, I'll ask Priscilla to take over.
Okay, so first moving on to the development process of the entire blockchain tech platform, there are three main phases. First one will be the concept design, wherein the ideation, concept design, and the prototyping, all three will fall into it, wherein we just give an empty structure of how the software will work, and then moving on to the detailed implementation wherein the complete software and the testing of the software will be done, and finally it will be the launch and reflection. Launch is putting the website into the market, and the reflection will be taking feedback. If there is some changes that has to be done, we will again go through the entire ideation concept, and the entire process will proceed further. So moving on to the marketing deck, to explain the SWOT, the strength.
Maybe you would have wind up the
weakness.
presentation. You have run
Okay.
out of time. The question and answer session, you can proceed now.
Oh, okay, fine.
May I start?
Yes, sir. You may go ahead.
Right now, tell me, don't you think this is the wrong time for textbooks aid and buy? We are increasingly going to digital area. If I take your own SJIM into account, nobody ever takes a textbook from the store. Even this is true at all, even school levels. It's all reading online. Increasingly, people who are still, even the newer textbooks are now losing the market, losing the business. They're trying to find something alternate. Is this the right time to go into a textbook business, environment-wise?
Sir, the main aim was to aim at the school students who will need the textbook, because apparently schools they don't let you use the college. We can to some extent understand that students can use the ebooks, but at a school level where children are kids, it's advised for them to use the hard copies of the textbooks. So that was the main market target market was also. So that's why we feel that this will be advantageous for students who are going in schools.
Have you gone to any of the schools and talked to any of the students about the feasibility? Do they use textbooks? Colleges don't anymore. Your own college is an example. Is it happening? I'm just asking a question. I don't know. I'm just projecting, extending the argument of college textbooks to school textbooks also.
Yeah.
Are you talking about textbooks at the school level, college level, what level?
Okay,
Sir,
so
it
sir.
can be of any level, sir. Sorry, Mohan.
Big one?
Okay, so basically the idea is when coming to my city from Gujarat, we have talked with few of the students who are preferring the textbooks, and it is especially for the school students. And talking about the SJIM, sir, I just have the one argument in front of this digitalization, that a library cannot be replaced with the computer labs. Textbooks or books are must always, and it will be always in the future, because a concentration, the environment we get there, studying there in the library is.
I personally agree with you fully. I couldn't agree with you more. But do your customers agree? Is that what they want? That's where the problem comes. Anyway, I'm done. Next judge, please. Yeah.
So how do you plan to manage a situation where today in most of the textbooks, right, the textbook comes like a workbook, right, in most of the schools, especially targeting the school segment, and it is no more a separate textbook and no more workbook. So it is all together combined. And handle that scenario where a used book, can it be actually used by some other students?
So we are actually aiming at schools which are not financially so much well-to-do. People, the students are not well-to-do. So at that point, we feel like even if it's a used textbook wherein the worksheets are filled out, to some extent it can be useful to the students because it will be affordable for them. Rather than not getting a textbook, they'll at least have a copy of a textbook which is already used, and even if it's filled. So we find it is a higher advantage when compared.
You will have to look at it, because how many takers will be there, that you need to still find it out.
Sir, I just want to add one point. When I connected with the two, we both connected with 2 or 3 local vendors. They are like they are not taking the old textbooks back. Every time they are asking for the children to buy the new textbooks every year. So it is again, why to generate all the textbook and why to make such a huge bunches of paper in the world when already the climate and all environmental aspects are going on, we can reuse that book. Now, if the further students is passing out from a particular study program, then he can just give off his textbooks to the other students. So in that case, a deforestation is like can be prevented this way. And recycling is also we are taking a step towards it.
We get it. Only thing is about that workbook thing, whether it will be reusable or not, that you need to check it out. Yeah. And define the right market or target segment, define the right city where you want to go and implement it. And have you spoken to some of the schools already, schools and students who are willing to, adapt to this? And you should start doing a pilot, and then whether it is working or not.
Yeah, so the students basically when ranging from not the primary section, but when the students come to know the usage of the phone properly from 8th standard to 11th standard, I think students are preferring to buy the textbooks, not that are very much costly, because since it will be pre-owned, so it will be the cheaper as comparatively to the new textbooks they are going, because at this age they got this little bit maturity that spending on textbooks is not there. We need to buy the reuse books and have the proper knowledge. So I think from between age starting from 8 to 10.
Yeah, we get it. Only thing is this hypothesis of the idea that you have to validate that. That's the only thing which we are asking you to do.
Okay, sir.
So I think I like the idea at a high level, and for example, I could be one of your customers because I've got too many books, old books. I don't know how to dispose them off. So definitely it's a good idea, but definitely as Sohan pointed out, you need to identify the correct market segment. So you need to know whom are you going after, right? And maybe as Professor Anand said, that colleges not be explained, right? Because colleges definitely students colleges are using notes and might not have time. That you have to find. Almost 2 weeks schools are also running an online mode. I don't know how much books are used. So a lot of such validation should be done.
Yeah, so market segment is definitely there because
Sorry to interrupt you. Your time is up. We'll move on to the next team.
Okay, I'll just answer this, sir. Okay, so sir, basically the market is there for it, but only thing is we need to validate that thing, like how many students need, because digitalization is there, but again it has a pros and cons. It is again a debatable topic. So market is definitely there, sir.
Yeah, sure, definitely. All the best.
Over to the next team, Team Prometheus.
Am I audible?
Yes, team, you may proceed.
Am I audible?
Yes, Vani, you are audible.
Yes,
Okay. A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. This is Team Prometheus, and the company that we have come up with Bagase is Bagase EcoCare Private Limited. The use of plastic plays an important role in our lives, and the overuse of plastics has certainly been a huge concern in today's world. The government has come up with various measures and awareness in order to manage plastic wastes, the tons of waste that is produced every day, every year in the whole wide world. But then the authorities find it difficult, even after implementing strict rules, to find a proper solution in order to manage waste. Akhil, next slide. Here's the real-time data of the number of plastics products that are produced every year in the world.
Give me a minute while it loads.
Okay. Though plastic is widely used, now this problem of usage of plastics and the waste disposal related to plastics can be sorted out and can be avoided if there's an alternate product that would have the same utility like plastics, but with which is lesser harmful to the environment. This is where Bagase comes into the scene. Bagase EcoCare Private Limited, a Bangalore-based Indian company that is based on the principle of sustainability, innovative technology, and we combine this to save the world. The company is based on the concept of impact business. The company focuses on making profits while having a positive impact on the environment, and also works to minimize the usage of chemicals and the excess waste byproducts that are generated due to plastic. Now, moving on to the product description. Next slide. Bagase EcoCare Private Limited, the company produces biodegradable bags from sugarcane residues. The company also focuses on production of food trays and food containers that are provided to the people because people want something that doesn't hurt or harm Mother Nature. Now, the properties of Bagase products are similar to that of regular plastic products, but with even more convenience and lesser harmful to the environment. The Bagasi products are cheap, eco-friendly, and it is usually made from residue of sugarcane that is available post sugarcane extraction. Moving on to the next person.
All right. So our main competitors are Evlogia EcoCare Private Limited, situated in Bangalore, the BioGreen bags, and also a Kolkata-based company called Richie Bags. And they mainly produce scrubbers, straws, bags, slippers, and different types of plates from various eco-friendly materials. We Bagase, we mainly deal in the production of eco-friendly bags and food containers, and Bagase is completely compostable. Our manufacturing unit, we are situated in Mandya, and as of now, we have 4 suppliers from whom we procure raw materials. We clean and dry the raw materials, and we use our machine to produce the bags and food containers. And the production capacity of our machine is 200 bags per hour. Food containers, they're thermal resistant and they can hold hot food up to 95 degrees Celsius. They are microwave safe, they're more durable and firmer than the polystyrene containers because of their fibrous texture. They're refrigerator safe and they have insulation properties that retain heat for a longer time compared to paper and plastic containers. And they can also be used to store cold food products and also water and grease resistant. Over to the next slide, please. All right. Our target customers, they're mainly divided into 2, the business buyers and the individual buyers. We supply to food shops which use single time use food package, and our major sales, it would be to supermarkets and departmental stores who are interested in using eco-friendly alternatives to plastic, and also other companies that are keen on bringing about a change. We will also be supplying to street vendors who deal in large use of plastic. And our next target market would be...
Team, you have run out of time. We'll move on to the question and answer session.
Let me start. You said you will establish the plant in Mandya. Why? Is that closer to your sugarcane waste supply? Is that the reason why you want to do that?
So we'll be getting the sugarcane residue, the bagasse, from 4 different suppliers. So Mandya would be a place where it could be easily, where the suppliers could easily meet us, and it is also easier to produce. I mean, make our situate our manufacturing unit in Mandya because of the cost and other features.
Sir, I would like to add into that. Mandya is called the sugarcane hub of Karnataka. So that's why we've set up our factory in Mandya, because sugarcane residue is easily available there.
Have you tried to make a financial at all, some kind of a projection, very vaguely, any attempt?
Yes.
We do not exactly have a revenue projection, but we have okay, so we have description of how our sources of funds and utilization of funds would be.
Sources of funds are different matters. Getting funds is probably the easiest matter in this world. But the problem is, have you made an attempt? What I'm trying to find out, is it your love of environment that makes you go into this project, or are you taking it as a business proposition? What's your principal aim?
So So like Vani said, in this day and age where sustainability is a huge trend that's coming up,
No, are you
we
looking at sustainability as a business opportunity, or are you people sustainability conscious, or you want to do something with that? Because the two motives are different, and it will accordingly determine the way you progress with your project. I mean, there's nothing wrong in either of the two. I'm just asking a question. I was curious.
all right. Sir, is it possible to be a bit of both? I think that's what we are.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's a safe answer. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, sir, I'm done. I leave to the judges. Any questions?
Yeah. So one question, maybe like someone in your family is behind it in a sense, like, because it's something which I would not expect students to do doing it at this point of time. Do you have a kind of family exposure? Someone in the family had been doing it and he guided you? No.
We do not, sir. We just found, so like our group members, my group members explained, bagasse is a very good substitute for plastic because it has properties similar to plastic. So once we found that out, and once we found out that we could actually proceed to making products with it, we developed a business plan on it. So to answer your question, there's no family member involved. It was
Very
all
nice.
right.
Very good.
That's why I asked the question. If it's your passion for environment that makes you want to go into this project. There are a lot of young men who do that. That's why I wanted to be a little clear as to your business motive.
It is, sir. Yeah.
And you are comfortable with all the technology which goes behind making the bags from the sugar cane?
Yes, sir.
Comfortable with the technology? Okay. Good. You're fine. I think later date we can talk more about it.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Judges, you have 1 more minute. You can probably ask a few more questions to the team.
Why didn't you try to make some kind of a financials, vaguely even? I mean, that's one of the prerequisites of any, even at this level of business proposition. Is it because you found it hard to get facts, or you just wanted to stay with the idea?
All right. So, estimating our sales was a problem because we didn't exactly know how to forecast our sales. So that was a problem. But I'm sure if we get a little more time, we'd be able to work on our financials. And so we'd have to go out and talk to suppliers to actually get an idea on how our
So,
financials.
so we
Yeah.
also have a marketing campaign that we think would be the boost to our startup. So we are planning on getting our sales from through the marketing campaign. So that would be our first sales forecast, first step towards the sales forecast.
Yes, sir.
No, have
If
you
you want to talk,
how,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
No. If you want us to talk about the marketing campaign, we can.
We can.
No, did you want to market it yourself? There are a lot of agencies who are environmentally conscious, who are doing it as a social service, who actually do the distribution. I know plenty of people who do that.
So what we thought is we have a fund allocated towards marketing. So we thought we'd so the basically the marketing campaign is let the earth have a say, use bagasse. So what we basically do is we provide free samples in to vendors in places where disposable plastic is an all-time high. So we provide them with free samples, and their customers who use our products will then get a knowledge of what our products do. And we've also planned on doing social media marketing in getting sustainable influencers. That's the thing on social media right now. So sustainable influencers who would further cover the story of how bagasse can be a very good alternative to plastic products. And so by all of that, we plan on marketing our products. So
Anyway, marketing would be least of your problem. There are a lot of people who are environmentally conscious of doing exactly the same kind of a thing. Whenever you're ready to go, I will buy 10,000 bags from you. I know our trust which will use that. The problem is more a matter of your cost, financial, and how will you make it and how will you charge it. That's what you worry about. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, judges, for your valuable inputs. All the teams, you would get an opportunity to connect with Mr. Sohan and Vishal over the weekend. They will help you gain better perspective over your business plans. The E-Cell coordinators would get in touch with you for the same. Audience, do not leave us as of yet. We need you to vote for your favorite business presentation. You might help them get few brownie points. So the judges will deliberate in private and we will hear from the keynote speaker of the day. Mr. Sarthak Goyal is the keynote speaker of the day. He's a serial entrepreneur, an avid learner, an excellent networker, a great orator in humans of BMSC. During his college life, among other accomplishments, he was one of the founding members of Code.io, one of the leading technical clubs in his college. A distinguished leader, he founded a startup search and was also a part of multiple other startups. Looking for a new challenge, he then founded SkillX. The startup aims to make millennial industry ready before they graduate with skill building workshops across technical and non-technical domains. He continually learned about the ever-evolving field due to his keen interest in network security and applications. He landed a coveted job in Akamai Technologies, a world's leading security firm. He currently works as a security architect. During his free time, he consults firms and individuals. He also has a podcast called The Goyal Show, which is an excellent listen for everyone looking forward to find views and opinions of extraordinary people, being one among them himself. On behalf of SJIM, I welcome you, sir. May I now request you to address the gathering.
Hey, thanks, Alina. Thanks for that nice intro. Hello, everyone. How are you? It's great to interact with some young minds. I love interacting with people. Like Alina said, I am into many things. So let me talk about my journey before I come to the main topic of how businesses in pandemic went or are going to be. So 2016 was one of I joined my engineering in 2015. I started meeting people. It was a very nice uh, environment. And I was meeting a lot of people, some brilliant minds, people smarter than me. And I thought, how can I learn this? I started going to networking events, met this nice person there. That was my first co-founder. And as a college student, I always thought we always face this problem of internships. Whenever we would go join or apply for any company, they would say that we need an experience. But this experience didn't come with us because we never got the opportunity to do internships. That's where my first problem was. And to find that problem solution, I created a platform called Startup Search. Now, we did a lot of internship drives. These internship drives had small scale organizations and up to medium scale organizations where we had an internship day where around 3,000 people would turn up, 3,000 students just like you, me, and they would apply and they would get a walk-in interview with these internships. So my first event was at Coworks in Bangalore, where 3,000 students turned up and 365 companies, out of which 125 were given on-spot offers. Again, 2017, I continued doing this. We went national, we went to Chennai, we went to Delhi, we did our internship drives. Guess you're not, in 2018, we did it in your own college. That was the internship drive where we did it in your college campus. And yeah, that's when. And 2018 was the time I took a step back from the startup, sold my stakes, moved out because I wanted to do something else. 2019 was the placement drive. I went ahead, got a placement in one of the companies called Akamai, where I'm currently working. That time, again, while sitting for these placements, I saw another problem. The training curriculum, what we get in colleges for placements, are way old. And when we join a corporate environment, it's completely different. Whatever we have learned, we need to unlearn. So that's where Skillex was born. Now, 2019 Skillex started, we again started doing boot camps, and 2020 was the year of the pandemic where we saw a hit to the business. And we went shut down for 3 months. Then I was so bored because I love meeting people. I started my podcast called The Goel Show, where I brought in people whom I've learned from to teach the others. Coming to this, the entire thing about entrepreneurship or starting any businesses, don't look at it that I want to create a business and make quick money. Remove that from your minds. Get to a problem. What is the problem you're solving? When you have a problem, it can be a day-to-day lives. Pick out a problem. Go on Google and check, is there a solution to this? If you see there are solutions like this, start doing some market research and see whether you're able to find a better solution and present it as a service or anything. Let's say you're trying to copy or you're trying to look at another businesses and do the same thing. There you're not solving a problem. You're basically making a competitive market. Whenever you start a company or are planning to do a business, look at a problem and you are the ones who should present it with a solution. Looking at this, when we saw the pandemic, we knew that we had to go online and start teaching these students because 2020 was the year where even the placements took a hit. The corporate industry had felt something new, or any industries, all the businesses industries were facing a surprise attack, or you could say that their businesses were not used to it. So all of them took adaptive measures, but whoever the leaders were, they knew that something like this would happen and they were ready and they were not affected. We saw a lot of big companies shut down. And that's where me and my co-founder and I started thinking, what can we do different with Skillex? In Skillex, what we see is content started becoming a go-to thing for everyone. So we started doing certain Instagram lives where we used to get industry experts to break some myths. We started the Mythbuster series. Then from there, we started your online platforms. We already had a platform built technology-wise. We just needed to fine-tune it and we were ready to go. The thing was, my co-founder is good with content and I'm good with tech. So there was a mix and match and we started doing it. But what you need to do is whenever you are in a business environment or anything, don't be afraid to hire or work with someone smarter than you. All right. If you're working with someone smarter than you, you're at an advantage. If you're good with management background, you should have someone good with a technical background. If you're starting a service, your co-founder should be someone who has technical knowledge and who is able to implement this technology into your business. So that's what happened with Skillex. We started doing things, we started marketing a little bit, and we started working on SEOs, and we started seeing our business coming back into proper position. And we got a lot of traction internationally also. So the customers we serve, ours is more is to a B2B model. So we started serving the customers and started giving them trainings, did a lot of sessions, had a lot of fun. And now we have no problem going offline or online. Even if when the pandemic started settling down, we did a lot of offline events. And then again, we are back to online, let's say for the past 2 weeks. So this is what happened with Skillex. If I have to talk about the pandemic situation and businesses more, what you guys see is a lot of them are doing aggressive marketing to their products. They are building a brand. They are not seeing the future. If I take an example of Boat did so much of branding as a company, but look at that company's problem mindset. In India, if you have to buy a pair of headphones, you would always buy an JBL. JBL would be a go-to person for a normal working man, or a Sony, right? Or a Sennheiser. Both did this. They saw that people are not able to afford premium quality of headphones, earphones, or Bluetooth headphones. They started making this. They started aggressively marketing this. And last year, they saw a shift that whatever they paid in their marketing started paying off. And that's when the company started registering profits. But if I take another example of Canva, Canva is an online it's a SaaS platform, software as a service, which started doing organic marketing. Organic marketing, I know you guys know that it's more of a word to word or people finding about it based on this. So Canva started using more of SEO ways. They started marketing a lot using their SEO, design, certain keywords. Now, if I type a design tool, Canva would show up first on Google rather than Adobe Photoshop or the Adobe family softwares. So in the pandemic, what we saw is digital marketing and marketing took a higher step. Even in the industry, a lot of these opportunities opened and a lot of these startups started coming up with digital marketing firms, then digital design firms, end-to-end digital solution companies started coming up. So that's where they saw the problem that there are so many people who know design, but they are freelancers and they don't have a business. One person comes in, puts in an idea, brings all these people together, someone from a marketing team, someone from a design team, and starts putting them together and starts selling as service. If I would ask you a question, so many of us stayed at home. A lot of these interior designers also came up. Why? Because people were there in their homes and they started seeing problems in their walls, cupboards, or the colors of their sofas. They started getting more of interior designs. So the business trends during the pandemic have gone to more of the niche problems, day-to-day problems. And sustainability was another one. I have one of my friends who runs this fintech startup where they invest into sustainable assets like solar cells. Another friend started an entire range of sustainable kitchenware products made out of bamboo. So they were looking at this because the pandemic happened. A lot of environmental pollution started reducing because we were at homes. There were no cars on the streets. People were able to see an impact that if they are not polluting or they are not putting out more waste, their environment is getting better. That's where that's where the people started looking at these problems and they found solutions. They built solutions on these problems. So if you look at the education industry also, my SkillX comes into education industry. There are a lot of competitors. And what happened is most of them, I know it was a hard time for businesses to run. Competitive prices started coming. But yet people went behind the person who had the credentials that they have proved day in and day out that they are the best. So when we come to competitive pricing as a business in the pandemic, people were ready to shell out money for a better quality rather than going for something cheap. So you need to build a brand. You need to build your customer a retention rate better. Have a customer base, because when you're solving a problem, connect with the customer or connect with the person who's going to use your particular product or service. Ask them for their genuine feedback. Take the criticism. If someone says that, hey, Sarthak, I didn't find this well in the training, I think you could have done much better. That's a constructive criticism. Take it. Improve on it, because when you improve on it and the person attends your training again, they will tell the next person that, okay, this person is ready to adapt to change. They're ready to work on themselves to deliver better. If you start selling the old things again and again, a customer would not come back to you. They have given feedback. You need to improve your product. You need to work on it, and you have not done it. That customer would go to another brand or another company. That's how the entire pandemic shifted the business industry. People were working on quality rather than quantity. People were ready to retain their customers at a better pace, at a better price. And if you look at the customer relation services, a lot of communication-based force was hired, or a lot of communicating startups came up where they were providing customer relation CRM services for other companies. That was the other problem, because when we go for offline placements, we would talk. We will be talking. But now when the pandemic happened, one thing happened is everything shifted online. People had to be pushed out to speak to people. If I'm going in an interview, if I am doing a meeting with someone, I need to speak up. I need to turn on my video. I can't be quiet. I wouldn't build my network like that, or I wouldn't showcase my skills. So people took this as a problem and made a business out of it. How to communicate online? That was one of the ads I saw on Instagram, and saw people were trying to pitch people or sell people how to communicate effectively. That is another problem. So whenever you're looking at startups as a whole, in any situation, look at what are the current problems. Rather than working on a 10-year-old problem, if you get a solution on the current problem, you will be able to make a good business, make a bigger brand, and also sustain it. Because when you're solving that solution for that time, money comes into the picture. People get to know about your product or service faster. Because if I take a 10-year-old problem, people would always have different companies are working on it. But if you find a current problem and find a solution to it, you will sell faster, make a better brand. That's how Zoom came in. We didn't have Microsoft Teams. We did have Google. We did have Google Meets. Before that, it was called Hangouts, but Zoom was the market disruptor. They knew Skype was there, but Skype never upgraded it to having big group calls, or in fact, now we are on Microsoft Teams. We never had that. They built on it, but Zoom had the market because people are used to it and people find it more better. So that was the entire situation with the pandemic situation and businesses. If I look at the age-old businesses, industry, which have factories set up, they were having offline markets, right? And they were not able to sell anything during the pandemic situation. As soon as the pandemic got over, all of these people started building their websites, started getting designers to make a brand out of themselves. And in fact, I helped my father set up his website, set up his e-commerce platform. So that's what happened with the businesses that were offline. People saw this again as a problem, that there are no websites. Half of the freelancers took over the market. The another market disruptor was Wix. WordPress was there, but Wix was more easier. People started going on Wix. That's what happens when you look into a current situation like pandemic. You have so many problems. If I have to look at end-to-end delivery, Dunzo became better. Zomato started putting deliveries like Dunzo, or Pickly for the Kirana shops. These were certain things that have come up in the pandemic. So when you look at a business in a situation like a pandemic, look at the current problems. Always look at the problems and find a solution to it. That will help you build a better brand, a better business, and a better name. So I think that's the information I had. I'm open to any questions you have.
I request the audience to put up the questions in the chat box.
So I was also there for the last 10 minutes in your first pitch round. I saw a lot of business come up, and I saw that you were looking at sustainability. That's another problem you're solving. Or even when you were talking about the sugarcane industry, you're using these industries. You're seeing that there's a problem, and there is again the industries which are set up. You're collaborating with them. So another thing during the pandemic is collaborations. Collaborate with people rather than building it on your own.
Hi, Sarthak. This is Kavya.
Hey, Kavya.
So I have a question about SkillX. Said it helps develop technical and non-technical. Give workshops to people, right?
Yes.
So give us a little more insight about that, or if you have an example that you can cite.
Okay. So when I talk about communication, that was one thing when I spoke in my talk about the communication part. People are not able to communicate. Even let's say when you had your online classes, how many of you students were not able to communicate to the teacher? Because we have this mindset that we are not, if we ask a question, we would be lowered. In our workshops, we just don't teach how to communicate. We get you in the habit of starting to work on this. And our workshops are mostly, it's done by my co-founder Rahul, and where we have planned is with every workshop what we do, we give them tasks which they need to perform. It can be a silly task like you need to create a video of yourself, take a selfie based video, tell us about the worst or very embarrassing story of yours. We push you guys out of your comfort zones. It's not that pre-recorded trainings. We give live sessions because that's what we think when we are giving a live workshop. This audience connects better and we are able to connect to the audience. When we are scaling this, because of the pandemic, we had to scale this. We did a few pre-recordings. So that's how scalability works. And then we also hired new trainers into our company and we are scaling like that. That's how workshops happen. Other workshop is resume building that I cater to, or one of the workshops I cater to. If you look at a resume, everyone copy pastes a resume in your college. I have seen, in fact, during my time, people just had a simple template. Even their hobbies were copied. So I was talking to one of the HRs. So she was complaining that so many of you people have the same hobbies. Why is it not different? Have you guys copy pasted your resumes? A resume is a piece of paper which describes you. You are selling yourself. And given this situation in the pandemic also, for the first thing our HR would see is your resume. They might not know, they will not know you. And I tend to bring out your personality on your resume. And I ask you questions. I put you in an uncomfortable spot, tell your weaknesses, your strengths, and then help you build your resume. At the end of the day, you can go go to Google, tell your designer friend to make your resume more good. But what goes into it? What are you describing? What are the skill sets you have? What are the projects you have worked on? What are the personality traits you bring to the table? That's what will sell in that one glance of paper. So that's the resume workshop. Then the next is cold emailing or etiquettes of how you have to write an email. When you're writing an email, I've seen so many emails where people type short forms for wait, W-A-I-T, they would write W8 when you're communicating to a HR of an MNC or HR of a small organization also. It's very unprofessional. What we are used to in the college will only tell us, hey guys, study aptitude, make your resume, group discussion, you're done, you're placed. But when it comes, you as an individual are going to join that company and not able to, when you go and interact with the people, they'll be more experienced than you. They would start pinpointing that you have to do this. What if you learned this beforehand, started implementing it, making it a habit, and using it in your day-to-day activities also. So those were the workshops how we deal with.
Thank you, Sarthak. We have received a couple of questions from our audience.
Sure.
So one of the questions is that how do you know when it is the time to change or adapt before the situation impacts you as a business?
Okay, so for me, when I had to exit Startup Search, I was bored. I was not knowing what to do next. And I was thinking that this is becoming more and more of a repeat. So I took a chance there. When you're getting bored with something or when you're getting comfortable with something, right? That's when you know you need to change something. All right. Even with SkillX, when we started doing workshops, at a point of time, after the 5th workshop, we started getting comfortable that, hey, this is just an easy go. We go there, we talk, we teach the students, we interact the students. But the other thing is, what we did to change that is we started putting, let's bring out the students' personalities. Let's put it into a habit, which keeps us engrossed, keeps us one-to-one on a student or a person who's coming to us to learn something. When it comes to a business, in business, it's simple. If you're getting comfortable with something and it's generating money for you, it becomes a cycle. You are not going to put a lot of effort into it. Let's say you start your day at 9 to 11, you work on that business old part. It'll start generating you revenue. That's how, if you look at the 10-year-old businesses are, the people who are running businesses, they have a cycle generated. What you can do is you'll see what else different can you do. That time you get to study or learn the market. What is different? What is that different thing I can do with my business, or sell a better thing to the customer so that I have more customers and a better brand. So that's where the comfort level comes in, and that's where you need to change or switch. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, we have a couple of more questions. However, we do not have as much as time left.
All right.
Thank you, Sarthak, for your wonderful interaction with us.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thank you. The hardest part about being an entrepreneur is that you fail 10 times for every success that you achieve. So we have a second-year student who will share his experience. Any guesses who is this entrepreneur that I'm referring to? You guys can put up your guesses on the chat box. Any other guesses?
Welcome everybody. This is the Fireside Chat with Rohit Saju, a student of SJIM. He is in the second year. He will tell you a little bit about himself in a short minute. We also have Vignesh with us, and both of us will be interviewing Rohit Saju and his journey as an entrepreneur. So Saju, tell us, who are you? Tell us a little bit about how your journey started and where you have reached till now.
So hi Kavya. So I started off in 2017, where I wanted to be a part of the food processing industry. So that led me to getting a job in Abad Group and understanding how the whole sector works. So it's all about FMCG value addition and things like that, where I was able to identify certain products where I can add value to and sell at an international market. So that led me to commencing a brine injection program for seafood and things like that with a company called Coral Exports. And in that sector, what I learned is that you can actually sell any product with a great increment in its price due to value addition features where it is properly processed, because there's always an end consumer who's willing to pay over the price for a certain product which is of premium value. And in this sector, the more you spend time with, the more contacts you make, your network expands and things like that. So my family has been in the food processing sector for the past 20 years or so. So our company's name is Tropicana World Trade Private Limited, and it is into the export of food products again and cold chain logistics. So we take care of food from point A to point B in its correct temperature, correct log records and things like that. And we do have operations in Kerala and Bangalore right now. And then we do some export as well. But due to the pandemic, it has got affected on a very large scale.
Okay. Now, whenever we use the term entrepreneur, fundraising is something which is important. Can you tell how did you raise funds for your business? I know that's not easy too.
Raising in the food processing sector would be dependent on the project which you have. So if the people which I'm associated with kind of believe in my project, or they think it has the scope to take off, I have certain individuals who are in the same field, but they would be giving me a certain share to take off the project with. So Coral Exports was a company which initially funded one of my projects, which was a brine injection program for tuna, which is supposed to be sent to Dubai. And they gave me an initial investment of about $20,000, where I had to take care of the expenses which were involved in bringing 2 Spaniards in. And those guys were in charge of the whole processing, the technological factor behind it. And all their expenses included research and development, things like that. I was given the responsibility to look after them and to make sure that all the products have the same quality as what we wanted. You can start with no capital also as a trader. For example, if there's some field which has a large market capital, like for example, alcohol, things like sushi or sashimi or things like that. When there's a lot of demand, you can actually connect the buyer and the seller. And this industry works at commission basis also, wherein if there's a full container load which is being sent from India to any other country, you would be getting a 2% or a 20 cents on the dollar type of commission per container. So any type of person who is involved in this will be getting paid. That's the best part about this industry as such.
So from what I gather, it seems like a very crowded space. So how do you market yourself to stand out and get yourself heard?
So the only platform which we are able to market ourselves is when we travel to other countries which are interested in the projects or the products which we are doing. So these countries are Belgium, Dubai, New Zealand, and Boston. So all these countries will have a yearly fest for food processing and food products like Gulf Food, which happens in Dubai every Feb, and Brussels show, which happens in the March of every year, and Anuga, which happens in Germany. So these B2B fests are aimed at connecting the buyers with the sellers, where people are able to meet you and see what the products that you offer, because you have the chance to open up a pavilion over there which represents your company, and you would be able to showcase your products to a wide variety of people coming in from every corner of the world. So that's how we get our name out there and get the clients which actually are looking for the products which we sell.
Okay, so Rohit, trade shows seems great, but how did you cope with marketing yourself during the pandemic?
Okay, so I'll just be honest here and just tell you what actually happened. Okay, so the entire food processing sector had come to a standstill, and the only products that were moving were rice and other staples like oxygen masks and oxygen cylinders, things like that. And that time, there was absolutely no exports of food products going from India to any other country. And so marketing myself at that time, I would say it was completely nil. And slowly it's resurfacing back. And I feel that we would be fine in the next 6 to 7 months, because slowly it's picking up and other countries are open to doing business as well.
So I also found out that you went to Delhi for Anutech Food Fest. Can you give us a little more details on that?
Yeah, so Anutech is an exhibition which is sponsored by PackX, and it's a German company which is works in partnership with Kohnmess. And Kohnmess is a food processing machinery manufacturer. So they have all types of cold chain refrigeration solutions, transportation solutions, things like that, like tunnel freezers and things. So the whole point of going to a B2B fest is to connect yourself with the buyers and the suppliers, networking yourself, and making sure the buyers exactly know the products which you're offering. And just to make sure that you have a great line of products. And before the buyers actually buy into whatever you offer, I believe that they have to buy you as an individual first to make sure that you will work well with them in the future. And that's how these trade shows work.
If you had the chance to start your career over again, what would you do differently?
The fact that I'm only 23 right now would suggest that till now, I think I've made the right choices to be associated with an industry as a whole. And I have a lot of friends and associates in the industry who are like thrice my age or twice my age. And I've asked them, like, instead of asking them what was the biggest achievement that you ever made in your life in the industry or whatever, I used to ask them, like, what's the biggest mistake you ever made? So I was able to learn from the mistakes which they have made in the industry, where they've made minor errors which have led to a lot of losses. So that has helped me understand how the whole export sector works, the normal things mistakes which people make. So yeah, and I don't think as of now I've made any such mistakes. So let's see. In God's grace, you can say.
Final question, Saju. Now, what would you like to tell to our students here about entrepreneurship and your success?
Reframe that question. There's no success yet. I've been working outside the scholastic safety net. There's nothing to do with colleges and things like that. So it's very risky out there. But once you catch a hold of a good tide, then there's no going back. So in this industry, the more time which you spend with people around you, your peers, everyone, they help to elevate you into another level. Because I started to empathize with my colleagues and the people who I started working with on a daily basis. And because of them, I've landed many good opportunities in this field. And yes, it is difficult. Like as an entrepreneur, today and tomorrow are very difficult, but the day after tomorrow is very beautiful. And it's only if you make it to that day, you'll be able to enjoy all the fruits of your labor. For Kavya, there's one more thing that I would like to add. So the whole essence of being involved in an industry is when you know what's happening in the bottom levels of the company as well as the top levels of the company. So in commercial terms, it's known as from peon to proprietor. So I don't believe in where you would just get a small element of an industry which does not really give you any exposure. And considering the fact that the human mind is coachable, whichever person's put in whichever designation will obviously grow over there. And under that fact, anyone can grow in any field if they actually put their heart and minds into it. So if there's any industry which you guys would like to talk about or anything, you know who to call or who to reach out to. Thank you.
That was extremely insightful. Vignesh, what do you think?
I'm sure our audience will enjoy this show. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Thank you so much, Rohit. And guys, you can always reach out to Rohit. He's always available in college. And we will drop his LinkedIn as well. And you can reach out to him whenever you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavya. Thank you, Vignesh.
So startups are sometimes the point of innovation, but more often than not, they are created after the invention to act as an innovation engine. So the concept of entrepreneurship is separate from this. Entrepreneurship is about driving innovation in a constrained environment. As students, all of us do look forward to the panel discussion. Panel discussion helps us to introspect and understand the various perspectives of eminent leaders. It helps us to broaden our perspective and motivate us to think ahead. So Professor Joy Chervatur will be the panel moderator for the day. Professor Joy is the Director, Corporate and Faculty at St. Joseph's Institute of Management. He is the board member of TIE Bangalore and he's also on the core team of TIE IoT Forum. He's the co-founder and business head of JevRev Global and Advisory for Enterprises. Mr. Joy is the co-chair of IoT Matrix, which is an annual global gathering of 3,000 plus IoT enthusiasts by IoT Forum. He is also the former Chief Marketing Officer of L&T Smart Cities and was the country head of IoT at Vodafone India. Mr. Joy is an accomplished presenter. Mr. Joy speaks at leading industry events as well as conferences on business ethics, the Internet of Things, smart cities, marketing strategy, business excellence, and B2B telecom services. Over to you, Mr. Joy.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you, team. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for that very, very generous introduction. It is my privilege to conduct a panel discussion among some very, very eminent personalities, some of whom have actually gone through the same halls of learning at St. Joseph. We have a couple of your, few of your seniors as well, alumni in the discussions that come up ahead. So what I will do is I'll sort of call out the names and introduce each of the panelists, and then we will jump into the discussion per se. It is my privilege to invite Ankush Sabharwal. Ankush, if you're around, could you? So Ankush is the brain behind a VC-backed company called CoreOver, which is the world's first and highest ROI delivering human-centric conversational AI platform. So thank you, Ankush, for joining us. Ankush has several awards at national and international levels for technical as well as leadership skills. And he has trained and coached more than 3,000 people on Agile and Scrum. and other technical management and domain skills. Welcome, Ankush, to the panel. I also have the privilege of welcoming Jagat Iyer. Jagat, if you're around, could you kindly unmute and hi, Jagat. Good to see you. So Jagat Iyer, my friends, is the founder and CEO of VidPhone, a video communication platform that helps startups, SMBs, and large organizations grow their business with proprietary video business models. See, the interesting thing is we are all on video today, and we are using video for learning and for business and for everything else. Jagat foresaw this several years ago, I think about 5 years or so ago. So I think he's also very worthy addition to this panel discussion on innovation. Okay, so of course he started a long time back working in Dell and then Aviva and TATSAT Corporate Solutions and so on and so forth, and then has launched himself out into the world of entrepreneurship, and a very successful entrepreneur, I should say. Welcome, Jagat.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Jagat, your volume is a little low. You might need to tweak that a little bit as we go along.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope this is better.
This is much better. Thank you. I have the next guest that I have the privilege of introducing is our very own Karthik Ponnappa, your senior and an proud alumnus of the St. Joseph Institute of Management. Karthik is the co-founder of Smarter Dharma. And Smarter Dharma is a social impact organization. Okay, they focused on sustainability and driving climate emergency through behavior change. Okay, so it's completely different kind of entrepreneurship area that they are in. He holds a master's degree in public policy from the Indian Institute of Management and a master's degree in business administration from St. Joseph's Institute of Management, as you're aware now. He also had a long stint in various corporate roles before he's got into this entrepreneurship venture. So a warm welcome to you, Karthik. Look forward to hearing from you as well. I'm sure your juniors also are looking forward to it.
Thank you, Professor.
I have the proud privilege of also introducing and welcoming Ravi Dabrio. Ravi is the co-founder and managing director of Origami Creative and Bloombox Brand Engineers. So Ravi, if you are there, could you kindly unmute yourself and put the camera on? So Origami Creative is about 21 years old. So Ravi actually had a fairly early start in life. He is also a Josephite in a way. He is a product of St. Joseph's Boys High School, and then went to the Xavier Institute of Communication, which is also run by the same Jesuit community. So Ravi, we can't keep you out of the panel. You will need to, we'll figure out a way to get you in. Is Ravi there? Can somebody identify him? I thought I saw him earlier and he was already admitted as a presenter. So we'll wait for Ravi to come on board. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is par for the course. Okay, we are online. So you do have things, people going in and out, the voices getting chopped and video getting clipped and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll not have those kind of glitches, especially because we have competition here, right? We have VidPhone on screen. Okay. So the topic of the panel discussion, and we just have about 30 minutes, and I'm worried that Alina will jump in and say time is over, we're cutting it and all that. So we'll need to be a little fast. We'll need to go through the next 30 minutes. I mean, we need to sort of cover whole lot of ground in the next 30 minutes. And the topic for the panel discussion is a little different from the theme of the conference itself or theme of the conclave itself. So while the theme of the conclave is marketing in the new age, an entrepreneur's perspective, the panel discussion is about invention and innovation. So the panel discussion theme is entrepreneurship is not invention, but it is innovation. So that is the theme of the panel discussion. I've sort of tried to divide this into 3 parts. The first section would be where each of the panelists, the 3 panelists that we have on screen right now, and the 4th, if you're fortunate enough to have Ravi join us as well, would walk us through their journey, and in terms of, they'll give their initial reaction on whether they agree with the topic or not. Is it all about innovation and nothing about invention? Or does anybody have a violent disagreement? I don't know. So we'll hear from each one of them, maybe about 3 minutes each, 4 minutes each kind of thing, and a quick more elaborate interview or a introduction than what I could manage to do. That will be section 1. Section 2 would be where I'll give each one of them a quick follow-up question basis, whatever we discussed prior to that. And we'll close with a small section for about 5 minutes, which I'll call as the rapid fire round. Okay, so there the idea is to give quick answers, one-word answers, and then we finish hopefully within the 30 minutes or so. Does this sound like a plan? Is everybody comfortable? Can I check with the organizers if they've been able to trace Ravi anywhere? Otherwise, we'll start, and whenever he manages to log back in, we will add him in. Okay, if you're adding Ravi in, kindly announce saying that he's being added in.
Yeah. Ravi is in, sir.
Hey, wonderful. Hey, Ravi, welcome.
Hi.
I hope you saw the glowing introduction that we gave you.
Absolutely, and I needed to make a better entry, so I had to do this. So
yes, that is pretty impactful. A note to all the audience, I'm sure you may have a couple of questions that come up as part of this discussion. So we will kindly put up your questions in the chat box. Okay, we'll keep track of the questions as they come in, and we'll take a few questions as far as time permits. If there are more questions, then we'll reach back to the panelists and get their responses and give them back to you. So this is just so that we manage time and nothing else. Okay, so feel free to start posting your questions. The earlier the questions get in the chat box, the higher the chance of them getting posted. Okay, so let me start with Ankush. So Ankush, what are your responses to this whole topic of this is, it's all about innovation, not about invention? Speak either in support or against it and give your own examples. Over to you, Ankush.
Sure. No, thank you so much for having me here. So it's not about for or against, but if you see everything has a merit in it, right? If we go talk about the basic invention is kind of producing something which never existed, right? Creating something which never existed. And now what is innovation? Innovation is making use of new ideas, concepts, methods, or even inventions, which probably were not used earlier, and now you are using them. Maybe for commercial reasons, or maybe not for commercial reasons, not always for commercialization, but the main point is you're using them, right? So if someone has invented something, then you can use it, right? There is definitely a merit in even doing the inventions, right? So now we can probably isolate two things. One is if you want to do invention, why not, right? So now, but that invention should not just be as a research project. If you're talking about innovation, you use that invention, right, in your gig. So yeah, so then for sure, innovation is definitely better when you're talking about entrepreneurship. So now, what is entrepreneurship, right? So if we again go to basics, so why not we are saying business, right? Why the topic is not whether innovation is better or invention is better for business. See, if you see the English definition of entrepreneurship, it's talking about innovation. So right, so entrepreneurship is some activity which you have signed it up to create a business eventually. But we are creating our own path as entrepreneur with entrepreneurship. So we have signed up to kind of solve a problem in our own way. If I'm solving the same old problem in the same old way, then probably I will not call it as entrepreneurship, right? I would say, hey, I'm doing a business, which everyone is doing. It's a set path. I'm just repeating it, which is less risky. So when I'm saying entrepreneur, means I'm solving a new problem or probably the old problem in definitely the new way, right? So that's why it is definitely the innovation if you see the English definition. And again, if I talk again, so innovation is whether using the old invention or new invention or just a new idea or a concept. So yeah, that's how I will put my
fantastic thoughts. So Ankush, you're straight away given the title of professor. Okay, you started in a purely academic, perfectly academic style, right? You started with the definition, then you did the very careful thing of balancing both, very neatly done, very neatly done. Okay, let's quickly move to Jagat. Jagat, what is your take on innovation and the role that it plays in entrepreneurship? And if you want, you can pepper it with a few examples of your own. Over to you, Jagat.
Yes, no, thank you so much for having me on the panel. I really appreciate that. Some of my friends as well, Ankush. Also, I want to thank all the students, and it's wonderful you guys starting in so early. It's the right time. So just cheers to all you guys. Coming to the topic, well, I can speak from experience. I started my journey as an entrepreneur in 2010, and I was building what's called social commerce. We called it social commerce back then as well. I would say that was reasonably inventive. There was no real idea of social commerce. We had the platform up, we had businesses signed up, and then back in 2016 again, I felt video had to be, it had to become mainstream, video chat, and of course we had video chat. I'm sure Dr. Joy, others would know of the Ciscos of the world, the Polycoms, but it was never consumerized, and that was the important part, the consumerization of video. So again, there was no real background. We were not from Cisco. There was no real talent in India building video communications. So again, my co-founder Akhil and I, we slug it out for 4-5 years, getting a hang of all of this. So today it's about innovation, right? So I think coming to the topic itself, and like Ankush said, I wouldn't be too professory about it. I would be pretty
no, there isn't like to be. Okay, he did a perfectly good job.
Yeah, as always. And I mean, Ankush is great. I mean, that's such fantastic work. The way I see it, very specifically to entrepreneurship, it is about invention, meeting market need. And I think that very specifically is, to me, a yes, right? We were selling the same solution, video chat, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, no one bought it. It was never on any enterprise's agenda. Nobody cared. It was not really something that you had budgets for. But today, I think everyone's looking at it. So that innovation, again, it's not, I would say, the video chat itself, technology, etc., has gotten better. But it could also be an innovation, like it's a natural innovation. Maybe COVID had to put it in, right? It had to happen. So a couple of examples, very interestingly, I want to take this example of Chetan Maini, who was building EVs back in 2000. I had a chance to meet him one-to-one, and I think that was invention. It was genius. Today we celebrate Elon Musk, but I think we forget someone right here in India, and he's a Stanford Advanced Energies PhD.
Yes.
I think it's unbelievable to look at that kind of innovation. That time, of course, the auto lobby is quite strong, and it's very difficult for him at that time. But that's an example, I would say, in entrepreneurship where I've seen and we have seen innovation very early, but I think invention very early. But now that people are looking at more environment consciousness, and of course the design of Tesla, that's making it more acceptable, in terms of as a consumer, as an entrepreneurship endeavor. So I would think that's a big example. I could go on with some things, but I think I want to hear from the other.
We'll come back. Yes, we'll of course come back to you. We want to hear more stories from you as well, Jagat. Thank you so much. And now moving on to Karthik. Karthik, you are different from the rest of the people on the panel. You have almost like a social enterprise, right? Sustainability and environment and behavior change, yeah, which is a very important part of entrepreneurship, if you ask me. I mean, if you're really innovating something, you need your customers to change behavior. So tell us your story, Karthik. And before that, you're for or against innovation versus invention.
Actually, when you look at it, Professor, and of course the rest of the audience, right? Entrepreneurship, I think Ankush touched upon it in some ways. We're trying to solve a problem at the end of the day, right? Invention versus innovation is basically the maturity curve of being in that industry, right? I don't know if this is coincident because Jagat was talking about Maini coming out with electric cars in 2000 or so. But the first electric car that was built was Detroit Electric in 1907, which ran like 120 kilometers on a full charge. Full circle, we come back to the same conversation, right? I work in the climate change space. It's nice to romanticize behavior change, etc. But sustainability and inconvenience are directly opposite in forces. As soon as I kind of make it inconvenient for consumption, I think sustainability takes a backseat today. We'll have to figure out how to bring it in the front. But to the conversation that we're having, I also feel that of how mature we get into industry spaces of that sort. Today in climate change, for example, we are talking about, say, carbon capture technologies as the next set of innovations that have to be made. Right? Carbon capture was invented by nature through trees billions of years ago. We are now trying to figure out how to do that in an artificial way. I do not know whether to bucket it under invention or innovation at this point in time. What I do know is we do definitely need to do it, because the space that I work in, say for example, we funnel out about 43 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the world every year. All right. I'm trying to see whether we can build an organization which can mitigate 1 billion tons of carbon by 2030. So to me, I would take invention and innovation both together as far as I can kind of go and get to achieving that goal. End result is, to me, I think finance becomes important, visualization becomes important. I heard some amazing stories from all the way from Sarthak in the previous session and all those things. To me, I think we need to start building this and start understanding it in a much better way, right? Maturity of the technology or the solution or what we provide in an industry, like if the industry is 500 years old, trying to actually invent something new is just probably cycling or recycling a very old idea. If it is a very new industry with something, if it's a problem that is in early stages to solve, everything that you look at is invention. When we started Smarter Dharma about 8 years back, we were actually searching for organizations who I could call as competition, right? As this innovation versus invention kind of category. I found solar manufacturers, water efficiency manufacturers, water solution providers, etc. But nobody who brings in an integrated approach to providing an innovation or an invention to solve a problem of carbon and the climate emergency, right? So I think context setting also kind of helps us understand where we fall. At the end of the day, we're all trying to solve a problem in my understanding.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you so much. It was so nicely explained. And so we have now Ravi. Ravi, I come to you with the same question, okay, which is, so you have, I would say among these, the people in the panel today, you have spent the longest as an entrepreneur, okay, 21 years running Origami Creative Concepts, yeah? So what is your take on this whole debate of innovation versus invention? How has it played out in your entrepreneurial journey? Over to you, Ravi.
Well, since the first guy spoke about an academic way, let me also put an interesting way to experience
okay.
innovation.
So Ankush, you're setting the trend, okay?
Yeah, but mine's a little different.
Yeah,
I experience invention and innovation every day in my house with my kids. When they're in their online classes, either they're inventing ways not to be in class, or they're pretending to be in class and finding ways to find joy and pretending and that's innovation. And they could make an enterprise out of that. But anyway, a little about my own journey. Like you said, 21 years ago, I started origami with 3 other alumni of your beautiful college. And somewhere along the way, we've been working on branding for a lot of startups across India and the Middle East. We've seen them thrive, we've seen them fail. And sometime along the way, we said, you know what, let's put our money where our mouth is, because we keep advising others to do stuff. Let's do something on our own. And that's when we started what is India's first artisan coffee brand called the Flying Squirrel, right? Which is now also called Maverick and Farmer. But the interesting thing is we got into the coffee space. Now, here's a beautiful thing. Coffee was already a popular beverage in India, obviously. All of us have had coffee from the time we were for years, right? So we didn't invent coffee. But what we did was innovate on it, because we realized that either people were drinking instant coffee or they were having really bad coffee and thinking it was good coffee. Because let me give you a little thing. Do you know that all coffee in India up to a few years ago was exported? So at the end of before the harvest season got over, all the best grade of coffee was exported across the world. Even the second best grade of coffee, even the third best grade of coffee. So what stayed on in India was what the world didn't see fit enough to be taken that side. So we were having bad coffee. So we said, let's hang on to that best grade of coffee, the true artisan handcraft coffee, and create interesting blends, put it into a pack and sell it. And that's when we really, and that for me was innovation, and it's still going very strong. People have, the landscape of coffee has changed. You'll see the blue turquoise and the third waves and all of that. But that's where we started and really innovated over coffee. And today it's a very different landscape when it comes to coffee. So in invention, yes, there is definitely a place for it. You can't, it's like the computer was an invention, but everything you've done with it after that is really innovation, right? And there's a space for both of them. There is no for or against. So yeah, that's my little take on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks. I think you actually brought out a very important point in terms of even taking a commodity like coffee and innovatively converting it or producing a product out of it. Okay. Thank you so much. I think each of you has actually shared valuable pieces from your experience. And I'm sure, there's a lot of food for thought in whatever was shared just now. Let me now pose a next question. And here, I'm not going to call in any particular order. Anyone who wants to sort of take it can just put up your fingers so the others also know that you want to speak, and then we'll go for it. Okay. So it is said that failure is the greatest teacher. Okay. I mean, you hear it in various places. What are your feelings about it? And are there instances in your journey where a failure actually helped you to come back with a better way of doing things? Anyone? It's open season. Jagat, yes, please. You're still muted, Jagat.
No, I'm good. Happy to take that. I was just, anyone else want to go, please do. But interesting, I think failure, we need to look at it, only if we learn from the failure, it's a good teacher. Otherwise, it's a bad teacher. Okay. And it's a very harsh teacher. So I think it's okay to fail, but to keep failing is, I think, stupidity. Unless you learn from that failure, I don't think it's a good teacher. Number one, that's my simple view on that. And that's what we call, like in Hinduism, we call it swadhyaya, which is, self-study. So I think you make a mistake and then there is no point crying about it. You probably come back and reflect, see where it went wrong. And again, I think you should look at things that you can control, right? There are a lot of times, like I would say that video didn't kick off in India for 3 years, from 2016 to really 1920. I wouldn't call it that it was really a failure on our part as such. I mean, I think it's not in our control, the good connections, good mobiles, good cameras. So I think it depends how you look at it. You should look at what can you control, and as long as you fix that for the next time, I think it's the best teacher, no question about that.
Fantastic. Anyone else wants to give it a shot? Ravi?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Ravi. You're still muted. Go ahead.
I was happy to be part of this conclave a little earlier. I signed in and I heard some very interesting points of view. And I see a lot of youngsters here who want to be entrepreneurs. For me, sharing a little failure in our life, we were a bunch of us enthusiastic friends who did this thing with coffee. And then what happens, and all of you are going to do this, one day say, hey, let's get funding and let's get money. And then you go and you get one really idiotic investor who will come and start dictating things for you, for me, we went through that, and I can't talk more about it here for whatever reasons. But when that happens, everything goes off. Suddenly you're seeing Blue Turquoise funded, you're seeing Third Wave. All these guys have come like years after you. And then we can't do it because an investor has no concept of how to take it forward. And we signed a bad contract. So for me, the learning after that was, choose your investors. It's not about the money. It's like-minded people who are going to come on board as partners into this business. And that's something that we learn from. And yeah, failures, we can talk about pandemics, you can talk about 100 other things, but failures are really where you thought you were doing something right and it went wrong. But always, either you can just sit down and say, okay, throw your hands up, or you can do something and actually step up and continue your dream in some ways, find ways, invent or innovate.
Innovate and at least learn from that failure so that you don't repeat again. And like Jagat rightly said, expose stupidity. Fantastic. So I'm moving away from that question for the time being, and I'm now going to Karthik. So this question, Karthik, is around is a slightly controversial question, okay? In the sense that given the fact that we are actually in something called the E-Cell and Marketing Conclave, that means the E-Cell and the marketing clubs have put together this conclave. My question to you, Karthik, and there is a reason why I'm asking this question, I'll explain that reason. My question to you is, how important is marketing really for a startup? How important how really important is marketing for a startup? At what stage would you, start focusing on or start using marketing as part of your strategy? The reason I ask is because when you were explaining earlier, you actually touched upon the importance of other functions like finance and things like that. So I thought you'll be the right one to pose this question to.
Thank you, Professor. I don't know whether it helps my cause, because before jumping on and co-founding Smarter Dharma, I used to actually manage marketing functions for other organizations.
Okay.
So I might be shooting myself in the leg. But if I have to share Smarter Dharma's story and of how we've kind of gone about marketing ourselves, right? To us at this point in time, also after 8 years in existence, we actually don't kind of have a pure play marketing budget, marketing person, marketing team, etc. Right? Our actual it's not something that I kind of am saying simply, but our actual marketing teams are my clients. Almost every client I have got to date is a word of mouth marketing activity. In traditional marketing terminology, word of mouth marketing, because clients have been ecstatic and happy with the work that we do. In many cases where they're also not happy, simply because what we've shown them is not a good story of where they are and where they want to be from a sustainability point of view. They understand that this is an equally important activity that anybody has to do, whether it's on a personal or professional front, right? So while there are some pieces on the back end with respect to organic search, online content creation, marketing, all the online marketing terminologies that do exist, going up to somebody and actually being able to spend money and pay for it or activate various channels of marketing, etc., to us so far has been in a very reactive mode. I think Ravi brought out a very important point. The first time we've actually been asked this question of how are you going to market, how are you going to scale, how are you going to get to more years, has come from potential did not happen investment space, etc. space, right? Because to me there are two types of it. One is, of course, the expansion. The second is going deeper and deeper. So we have clients who have re-signed and re-signed and re-signed because they've started new projects and new activities and new ventures. And that probably talks about my work or my team's work, and that's taken us to a certain extent, right? Right now, while we are doing that, I am, the past 2 years has been a very important time for us, because we are now switching over to becoming a ML platform or resource platform for sustainability, which to me right now, as you ask, we are trying to figure how do we market this, right? So we are bringing in all those things that I have learned right from Kotler probably 16, 20 years back.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks, Karthik. So the last question in this segment is actually for Ankush. And before I raise that question or post that question, I need to share a little more of your biodata, Ankush, with the audience. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Ankush has an impressive list of qualifications behind his name. He is an entrepreneur. He has done a course at MIT Sloan, which is called Entrepreneurship 101. Okay, he's done that. He's done his master's in software engineering from BITS Pilani. He's done his executive management program from IIM Kolkata. He has done an MBA in international project management from the ICFI, Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. And he is a bachelor's degree in software engineering from NIIT. The only one which is missing in your qualification, Ankush, is something from St. Joseph's Institute of Management. Okay, but then we sort of forgive you for that one. Not a problem. So my question to you, Ankush, is this: how does education prepare you for a life as an entrepreneur? Education and degrees, how does it prepare you? And that's the last question in this segment. Yeah, then we're moving on.
So, by the way, the PhD is still pending, right? So I will.
That's at St. Joseph's. We've launched it in October last year. Okay, we have a PhD program running in St. Joseph's now. But over to you, back to you, Ankush.
Awesome. See, education is, I think, it's very important. See, if you have to get a job, for sure it is important, right? So I have hardly seen job notifications, whether India, abroad, government, private, even if the founders are entrepreneurs are the business owners are not educated, they definitely like to have the educated people in their company. So, but yes, so if you don't want job, if you want to do a business, you want to be a business owner, you want to be an entrepreneur, so directly out of college, again, that's a decision, but I see more risk in that because we don't have much experience in just starting. Is purely would much more beyond gut than the real life experience. But there are many people who are successful. But again, if you have to again get a job, right, get the learnings, add someone's cost, right? So because you fail for sure, and you fail while you are being in job, and you learn, and then you prepare ourselves. We prepare ourselves for entrepreneurship. So again, we need to get a job. So, but that is more of, I think, bureaucratic answer which I have given. But otherwise, if you see what is education, right? We get a buffet, right, served at us, right? So we study a lot of stuff. So we get exposed to many topics. And if you see, if we really have to produce something, it is not produced just with one stream of study. So a very extreme, if you see, if it's a medical science, if someone has to do surgery, it's not just a medical science, right? There is a physics involved. I'm sure the chemistry involved. But again, that is, I think, bigger streams I'm talking about. But if I come directly to my stream, which is software engineering, so software engineering has a lot of streams. There is a network security, we have programming, then we have cloud, say DevOps and all that. So I can do programming, but that cannot be taken live to the millions of users because other trades within software engineering are required to test, deploy, deploy into the cloud and kind of expose it to the public. So multiple stuff is required. And now as entrepreneur, so if I have to produce something, if I know a lot of stuff, I'm not saying be master in all of that. If I be jack of all, then I would have some sense, hey, which field I kind of is inclined and what I should study more and be master of one, and then do kind of excel and probably in that entrepreneurship field, I choose this. And if I have no idea, if I am not exposed to all these subjects, whatever we do in education, I'm not saying we will not be successful, but again, it's a lot of effort. So now you don't know what exists. You don't know how they have solved that problem. How you don't know how they tried to solve and then failed. And then we are trying to come up with a new invention possible. But then you have to be very, very committed. A lot of effort you need to require because you have to make yourself learn on your own. No one is giving in the plate. So we can be successful, but the onus would just be on us to think what to study and then find who is the right person to make us study and then do a lot of effort to actually understand and deliver on that. So in education, we might lose 2-3 years extra, but in the bigger scheme of things, life is long. I don't think it matters much.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Ankush. I'm sure there are a lot of people in the audience who would be nodding, as you speak. With even in the student body that we have here, there are people who are trying their hand at entrepreneurship. In fact, if you had logged in, say 10 minutes earlier, you'd have heard one of them on the program. We had Rohit Saju talk about his experiences and so on. So yes, but I'm sure people like Bill Gates will have a bone to pick with you. Okay, they dropped out of college and started off in the garage and all that. But that's a different story. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ankush. So, see, we're running out of time. So I'll quickly move into what I'm now calling as the rapid fire round. We really will not give you chance to make long answers. Though as professor, I retain the right to ask long questions. No, I was just joking. I will not do that. Okay, so I'll just do a quick round. So pick out one, pose a question to you, give you a 1 or 2 word answer, whatever comes top of mind. This is more to get the truth behind the man, kind of thing. Okay. So question to Jagat. Jagat, you need to unmute yourself. Okay. One thing that you enjoy about being an entrepreneur, Jagat. The one thing, something that you did not have to do when you were an employee elsewhere.
Job satisfaction.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jagat. I think that is very, very well said. Okay. Next question is to Ravi. Okay. So Ravi, what has been your most memorable experience as an entrepreneur? Okay, you cannot do it in one word, maybe one sentence. You're the longest.
My partners and how important they are to everything I've done. It's the memories of them being with me more than anything else we've accomplished.
Wonderful. So clearly there is chemistry there, right? Your partners and you. So you want to say that as the most important thing in your experience as an entrepreneur. Fantastic. Okay. So this is to who was last? Karthik. Okay. Karthik, question to you, sir. What is the strangest thing you have done as an entrepreneur? Strangest thing. The most weird thing.
It might not be strangest, but I said no to a lot of business.
Okay. So the fact that you had to say no to business felt alien to you, is what you're saying, right?
That's what we are taught of. Don't say no to sales. No, don't say no to business.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, if it doesn't go with the ethos of your organization, say no. You
say no.
Your
And
gut,
even
your
if you
gut will
feel
tell
weird
you.
about it. Yes. Fantastic. Okay. So to you, Ankush, the last one. Okay. And with this we end the discussion. I'll also not, I'll defer the questions for later because we're a little out of time. That is why. Okay. So to you, Ankush, what has been your most memorable experience as an entrepreneur?
I think when we launch something and as soon as you launch, you see millions of users using it. So I believe all the surveys, all the tests, POCs which we do, all fail positively or negatively when we actually expose our product to the millions of users. So I think that moment I would never forget.
The one where it actually takes off, is it? Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much. And on that very, very positive and happy note, we come to the end of today's panel discussion. Thank you so much, Ankush. Thank you, Jagat. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Karthik. Each one of you gave a piece of yourselves, shared a little bit of your story. Happy to stay connected with you. And whatever questions are there, I'll sort of route them to you for you to share, continue to share your wisdom. Purely because of time, I hand it back to Alina. Alina, take it away. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the panelists. The panel discussion was really insightful and did redefine our perspective on the entrepreneurial spirit. So the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu commented, the journey of starts with the first step. And this is probably the first step on the long road of entrepreneurship journey for the participants of First Pitch. Now let me call upon Vignesh, student coordinator of the entrepreneurial cell, to announce the winners of First Pitch.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Alina. I am really excited to announce the results of the first pitch. And before that, congratulations to all the participants for all your efforts. As I already said, these plans will be taken forward. Hope you keep working on this. So before we announce the results, can we just have Kushal sharing the screen of audience poll? Let's see who is the audience favorite. Kushal, can you help me with the technical? Okay, here I have the results of audience favorite. The audience favorite team is, okay, I see the screen now. Okay, it's Team Sustainablers is the audience favorite team. Congratulations. Okay, now let's go to the actual results. So coming to the third place, Vishal, can you? Okay. The third place of first pitch goes to Team Bandits, Tejashwini D and Nikhil. Congratulations, team. And the runner-up, first runner-up of the first pitch goes to, any guesses from the audience? It goes to Priscilla and Mega. Congratulations, team. And the winner of first pitch 2022 goes to Akhil B. Joseph, Vani Sri, and Anakha. So these are winners of first pitch 2022. Congratulations for all the participants. Over to you, Alina.
Thank you, Vignesh. Now I call upon Kavya for the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Alina and Vignesh, for announcing the results as well. So that was a good thing that we saw. So the word of thanks. Good evening to one and all present here. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the word of thanks on this memorable occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty for making today's occasion a resounding success. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our keynote speaker, Mr. Sarthak Goyal, for sharing his beautiful entrepreneurial journey with us that I'm sure has left us all in awe and inspired. We are grateful to all the judges, Mr. Vishal, Mr. Sovam, Mr. Ranjit, and our professor, Dr. Anantraman, for taking time out of their busy schedules to judge our participants and provide their valuable feedback. Thank you, judges. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Anoop sir, Karen ma'am, and Venkatesh Raj sir for judging and scoring the first round of the B Plan competition. Despite such short timelines and a number of plans to judge, they were able to do so and even provide feedback and their comments on the same to help participants refine their plans for today's final presentation. I'd like to extend my gratitude and thanks to Professor Joy for moderating the panel and all our wonderful panelists, Mr. Karthik Panappa, Mr. Ankush, Mr. Jagat, Mr. Ravi, for giving us such valuable insights, and we really thoroughly enjoyed your session. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our director, Reverend Father Manoj D'Souza SJ, and our dean, Dr. Rajgopalan sir, for encouraging and supporting us throughout. No matter how many times we knocked at their doors, they were always there to help us. So thank you, Father, and thank you, Dean. I'd like to further thank Rohit Saju for sharing his journey and experience with us. Although just 23 years old, he has so much knowledge and understanding of the industry and was kind enough to share it with all of us as well. So thank you, Rohit. I would like to express my gratitude to the media team and Kushal, especially Professor Anand sir as well, without whom this virtual conclave would not have been possible at all. To all the participants of First Pitch, congratulations. Thank you for coming forward to take part in this competition and sharing with us all your wonderful and bright ideas. My heartfelt thanks and appreciation to our faculty coordinators, Dr. Anantraman, who also judged the event with us today, the First Pitch event, and Professor Joy, for being our pillars of strength, support, encouragement, and also our mentors, without whom Vignesh, my fellow organizer, and I would have been very, very stressed trying to make this conclave a successful one. I'd like to specifically thank Mr. Vignesh as well, our entrepreneurship cell coordinator, for accepting our invitation for collaborative conclave, which is the first of its kind in our institute. Lastly, I would like to thank our wonderful audience for being so participative and engaging, and also all the faculty members and teachers for being a part of this conclave. A special mention to all those involved in making this conclave a huge success. Also, I would like to thank our MC, Miss Alina Johnson, for being so kind and cooperative and for hosting the entire event with such grace. Thank you all and have a wonderful day ahead.